迎您回来。到了今天的嘉宾访问环节，今天为大家请到了省议员 Michael Cotto 先生。他今天来呢是想跟大家聊一聊自由党政府提出的这个减免学费的计划。First of all, welcome to our show, Michael.
Hi, Sydney. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. So you're here to tell us more about the 30% off of the Ontario tuition launched by the Liberal government.
Yeah, well, our government has invested $500 million into a tuition grant that represents 30% of either college or university, any post-secondary education. So if you're in university, it equals around $1,600 a year. And if you're at college, it's just over $700.
Is there any condition to apply for the rebate?
Well, it's retroactive as of January 1st of this year, so it'll apply to this semester, and there is a cutoff date in March, and you can find out more information about the grant if you go online and just Google Ontario 30% grant, and it'll come up. But you have to be either a permanent resident or a Canadian citizen residing in Ontario, attending a publicly funded university or college, and your parents have to make less than $160,000 a year.
And you have to be a full-time student?
Full-time student, correct. And you have to, there's another, you have to have been graduated from high school within a 4-year period.
Okay.
So it applies to roughly 300,000 eligible students in this province.
再给大家更新一下，就是我们一直有提到说，这个自由党政府提出的30%学费减免的这个计划。学费减免的具体的内容呢是，如果您是读这个大学本科或是学位课程，一年是1600块钱减免，那每个学期呢就是800块。如果您读的是这个专上学院或是证书课程呢，那么每个学期是365，一年下来就是730块钱。但是有4个条件申请这个30%学费的减免。第一个呢，就是您一定是这个加拿大的移民或者是公民，并且是居住在安省，要是一个全职的学生，不能是part-time 的，不能是成人教育的这些学生。第二个呢，就是高中毕业4年之内在读这个大学。另外还有一个就是在刚才提到说，这个必须要在高中可以直接申请的这些课程才是包括在内。另外还有一个就是非常重要的，父母年收入不能超过16万每年。其实这个学费的这个减免计划推出来之后呢，大家一直都有讨论，而且在月初的时候，2月1号呢，多伦多有很多，一共3所大学，多大、Ryerson 和这个 York， 他们都是学生聚集在一起来示威。他们当时示威呢就是问这个自由党政府为什么这个计划不能让所有的学生都能够获益。我们就来问一问 Mr. Cotto. So on February 1st, there was a protest. Organized by 3 universities in Toronto. They marched and they asking for, how come the Liberal government cannot give this rebate to all the students?
Yeah, you know, it's a $500 million investment. I think, you know, this government has invested so much money into education. You know, K to 12, it's been a 56% increase in funding over the last 8 years. When you look at universities, you know, during the Mike Harris years, there was a 50% reduction in just OSAP. We've increased it by 50%, so it's now $1.5 billion in OSAP funding. We've increased operational funding to universities by 75%. There's 200,000 more students in post-secondary education under our mandate, under this government, than there was in the previous government. So there's been a huge investment. I think we continue down a path. And obviously, we can't make everyone happy all at once, but where we were 10 years ago versus today is night and day, and we'll continue down a path to invest in education.
I think what the students ask for is like a 13% discount of the tuition for all of the students.
For all students.
That's still not possible?
Well, we have many programs that, you know, we have programs for people who are out of work, who can get back into the workforce. We have employment programs. You know, this program is specifically geared towards students who have graduated high school in the last 4 years. And it's again, a $500 million investment. We're talking about, you know, over the course of a 4-year period, $7,000 plus that goes back to you know, in some cases, you know, if you have 2 kids in school, that's almost $15,000 coming back to that family. over the course of 4 years. So it's a great place for us to be in Ontario. We know that education, without a question, is one of the pillars of a successful community, a successful society, a successful province, and we're heading in that direction. We'll continue to, go in that direction, and I think that at the end of the day, it's a wonderful investment for the young people of our province, and we'll continue moving in that direction.
And there are a lot of complaints from mature students and part-time students.
Yeah.
They complain about how come we don't get the benefit.
Well, I think that you have to start somewhere, right? So we've introduced. This is a pretty, like, if you think about this, this is a $500 million investment into education. Where do you draw lines, right? This is a step in the right direction. I don't think there's anyone who's protesting this that would complain about the overall grant. I think that if you ask any student in this province if it's a good thing or a bad thing, they'd say this is fantastic. I think anyone who understands that education is so connected to employment, and if we can have a strong, educated workforce, they would agree without a question that this is a good investment for Ontario. Obviously, we're in tough economic times. We can't please every single person that approaches the government or group, but what we can do is make good decisions. And I think this province has this government's made a great decision around investing in young people, investing in students, investing in our leaders of tomorrow. And as a father of 2 children, I think it's a fantastic opportunity for families and to increase accessibility, to allow many more young people to get that university or college experience. So I see it as a very positive thing.
Okay, the legislature resumed today. Anything new for this session?
Well, in the next few months, we'll be introducing a budget that's going to be, a significant piece within this session. I also know that we have to, as a party, but also as members of Parliament from all parties, work together to make sure that we continue down, a prosperous road. There's an economic downturn, the worst that hit this province a few years ago, and we've navigated through those waters, and now it's time for the parties within the Assembly to come together and make sure that we make the right decisions for Ontario.
Okay, and the economist Mr. Don Drummond's report released last week, and he had 362 recommendations for helping Ontario to reduce its deficit. How do you see the report? Well,
it's a fantastic report, and we've just been given the report recently, and it's some great advice. And now, as a government, as a House, we have to make decisions based on those recommendations. So I think it's the investment we made a year ago into commissioning this report will pay off in the long run, because it gives us a very clear understanding of what we're up against, what we need to do, and there's some very strong recommendations in there that the chief economist has made, and we have a lot of decisions to make now.
And as a prior public school trustee, how do you see the opinion of suggesting to increase the classroom size?
Well, again, there's many recommendations when it comes to education.
Do you agree with that?
Well, I think that the most important thing for us to do now is to listen to our stakeholders. But we've been clear. We've made a strong commitment that education will continue to be funded. Since this government came into office, it's increased again, K-12 funding by 56%. We're going to continue to move down a path of investment into education. It's one of the priorities for this government, and I think that over the next few months we'll be able to make some decisions based on feedback from our stakeholders and just a conversation that takes place in the Legislative Assembly.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you for your time, Cindy.
Thank you. 也是再次提醒电视机前很多学生们，如果他这个学期的申请30%学费减免计划的截止日期是在3月31号，大家不要错过了。再次感谢Michael Cotto 来到我们的节目 ，Thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.
我们今天访问到这里，先暂时告一段落，稍事休息一下，广告回来再会。